Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming to you from the place where competitive gamers come to chase their dreams and mostly fail. This is the Maverick Center in Johannesburg. It's one of the premier esports facilities in the city, and there are Funko Pops too, apparently. So I thought this would be a good place to talk about. No, not that one. Morty. No, that's Snowball. Oh yeah, there's a new Rick and Morty season coming out this week. But no, Craig. Today we have a guest. Maybe in one of your other dimensions you can do Rick and Morty. So there's something bigger in just a few hours' time. It's the League of Legends World Championship Final. And yes, for those living under a rock, that is a thing, and it's bigger than ever. The previous League of Legends, the last game that they played at Worlds, the second semi-final between G2 and SKT, was the most watched stream ever for esports. It was 4 million peak concurrent viewers, not including China. Joining me today is Naga.
Thank you for having me.
So this is the point where things go a little bit off script, because Naga's going to tell us all about League of Legends and the World Championships. It's very different when the person next to me can actually talk back. So, first of all, introduce yourself and your team.
Okay, well, everybody calls me Naga, but my gamer tag is actually SlyMarboZa. I'm a Twitch streamer, South African streamer.
Put it up on screen below.
I play competitive League for the Black Templars. We came 9th at championships this year, which is not too bad for a team that came out of retirement. 4 of us came out of retirement, and we actually came 9th. And funny enough, the guy who bet our team that we couldn't get to Prem in 1 year, we got to championships in 1 year, basically. Not Prem, but close enough.
Yeah, well done. How many teams are there in the current league?
In the current league, the last I saw, I think there was 52 teams competing. But, you know, you get some teams that come and go. They play like one leg and then they leave. They don't follow a second leg.
So what I asked you here was to actually look at the South African League of Legends scene, comparing it to the biggest scene in the world, which is our international scene run by Riot Games themselves. So let's have a look at, what do you think the biggest difference is here compared to the European LEC and the North American LCS?
Well, obviously the first thing is ping. But obviously, so, as an African continent, it's very difficult for us to get a server here, because your queue times would go from being 5 minutes to 30 minutes because the player base is too small. But there are some teams in Prem that I think could give LEC teams a run for their money. There is a player, KDO. He got to Challenger, I think, at the start of the year. Sometime in the middle of the year, he got to Challenger, and he actually played for a team that was competing in a championship that was playing against he actually played against an LEC academy team.
Oh, wow.
And he actually won that game. So there is potential. Obviously, like, we just need to get the growth going a bit more and get players to come and play the game. Obviously, with there no being local servers, it's a big issue.
Yes, so for context, for people who aren't familiar with League of Legends, Challenger is the highest tier in the League of Legends ranked play system. So each major server, like Europe and America and China and Korea, have their own ranked tiering system. The main problem with having a server in South Africa is ranked specifically. It's only about 50,000 players, which means your Challenger division, your Master division, and your Diamond and Platinum division just won't have enough competition. As you say, you'd have a 30-minute queue time and you'd be playing with the same 5 people the entire night.
Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers, but I know the majority of South Africans are placed between low gold and mid diamond. There's only a few that have got to actually master tier or higher. Like, to my knowledge, KDO is the only player who's actually gone to Challenger.
Let's talk about Worlds. The World Championship is the biggest tournament in League of Legends. There's millions of dollars at stake. The players are earning millions of dollars, and they are all... if you've watched any major sports tournament, it's no different, really. There's lots of hype, lots of big players, lots of money, lots of fans. The final is being played in a stadium in Paris, I believe. Is that correct?
I think that's correct, as far as I know.
The two teams who are in the final are, of course, the Chinese team Fun Plus Phoenix, which is, of course, the worst name in the history of esports, as well as G2, which is probably the most boring name in esports. So let's talk about these two teams. What do you think about Fun Plus Phoenix?
Fun Plus Phoenix. Well, let's keep it short at FPX. I think they're a very good team. There's a reason why they're the #1 Chinese seed. You know, if you think about it, Royal had that #1 seed for quite a while before IG became the #1 seed. Now you have FPX as the #1 seed. I think their play style, I think they play a lot around their mid laner. I think he's really, really good.
So let's talk about G2 then. You mentioned that you think G2 is a more cohesive unit and they're going to outplay FPX over the 5 games. But you say FPX might put up a fight. They're going to take games of G2, definitely, at least one.
I think it will end 3-1 to G2. Like I said, I think G2 play more as a team. You could see it, like they have each other's back when something happens.
3-1 to G2, that's a bold prediction, but I do agree with you there. How do you want to record another take that says FPX will win?
We can.
So what I want to talk about now is the gap. People have always thought there's been a gap between European and North American Western teams in general and the Eastern teams from Korea and China. And obviously that gap doesn't really exist anymore thanks to G2, and of course Fnatic last year was also in the final. So do you think the gap is completely closed between the regions?
Well, okay, let's put it this way. I think NA is very far in the gap between where Europe, China, and Korea is. I know this is going to sound really bad and everything, and I might get a lot of hate for this, but I feel NA's competitive scene amongst each other is strong amongst each other. But when it gets to international tournaments, it's weak. I feel a wildcard team could do better than team like TSM or Liquid and stuff, because it just seems like when they get to internationals or an international tournament, they don't know what to do. Like, you see how they have a game plan throughout the whole of the LCS, but then when they get to international, that game plan sort of like just climbs in a plane like they do when they go back from Worlds.
So we've spoken a lot about Worlds. Let's go back to speaking about what's coming for South African League of Legends next year.
Yes, league starts again next year, I think January, because it started in January last year. I don't know if they're keeping the same format, because I know a lot of the Prem teams have been complaining that there's not enough competitiveness amongst the teams. Like, there's always the same teams that keep playing each other in the semis and finals and stuff and all of that. Instead of trying to change things, we should try and find a solution to it. So all the teams that are high, this is my opinion now, all the teams that are high elo, or not high elo, in high divisions, that are the ones complaining about it, should, if they retire or they stop playing the game, instead of stop playing the game and other people are staying and they still complain about the same thing, that there's not enough competition and stuff, why don't you teach the teams that are in lower divisions to strengthen the competition throughout, instead of just making it that it's always Prem Division teams versus First Division team playing against each other. Make it that everybody is sort of a little bit stronger.
Do you think that more support from corporates like Matrix Warehouse and that would help the scene on the top end?
I'll give you an example. We struggled to get sponsorship, and because the one sponsor that we approached, they didn't know how well the scene does. So we asked them to give us a chance, and we showed them now that because of the fact that we finished 9th after 4 of us came out of retirement. I didn't play competitive for about a year. Our jungler and support hadn't played League for 4 years. And they came back this year because one of their friends at the office challenged them to say, you can't make a new team and get to Prem in 1 year and go to championships in 1 year. We didn't make it to Prem, but we made it to championships. We qualified to go to championships, and we came ninth. You know, we finished higher than, I think it was 2 Prem teams. I think the only way you strengthen this scene is that you either help people get better at the game or try and get better at the game. Like, I'm not saying, I know that some people are not good at the game, but if you just take 2 hours of your time to help a person get better. So like if a person's stuck in bronze, help him get better to silver. It's going to motivate him the next season to try and get to gold. You see what I'm saying? So that's how I feel you get better. Like, it doesn't help that you just keep calling people, no, you're trash and like bad mouthing the person. Then you literally just then going to kill the scene because you're not helping the person get better. Everybody wants the scene to get recognized. How are you going to get recognized if you're bad mouthing everybody that wants to make the scene better in the long run?
Thanks for coming out. It was great having you here. You gave us a lot of insight. I'm sure there is going to be an unedited version of this interview, unlisted. It will be in the comments. Otherwise, you can watch your stream.
My stream is SlyMarboZa. Twitch/SlyMarboZa. Try and stream most days as best I can.
What time of the day do you normally stream?
But most of the time it's either 8 in the evening or about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It just depends.
Yes, so that's 8 in the evening or 2 o'clock in the afternoon South African time. We'll post a link in the description. And is that most days of the week or on the weekend? Or when
I try and do it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I tend to try and keep weekends to myself. If I do a stream on the weekend, it would be something just random and that will pop up.
Alright, anything else you'd like to shout out while you have the time?
Thank you for the interview and everything like that. I hope I answered all your questions. And
already covered everything. We've been here for about 50 minutes now talking about League of Legends. I'm sure we could go for another couple of hours if we really wanted to. Craig has disappeared, as you can see. He's not interested anymore. I'm sure he's wandering around here somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Chat again soon. I will let you know as soon as this video is up. I intend to have this video up before Worlds, so if your prediction is wrong, everybody will know.
3-1 G2. Calling it.
3-1 G2, you heard it here first. Place your bets now.